Charlottesville. It's lovely to be here on grounds. You pretentious fucks. Welcome to the Eras Tour. It's great to be here in Virginia, named after Elizabeth I, because she was, it said, a virgin. Imagine having a state named to the lamest thing about you. But this show isn't lame. We have two amazing candidates for your legislature. Kim Pope Adams and Lily Franklin are here. Incredibly funny Alexandra Petri and I see if we can squeeze some concessions out of these House Republicans. You will help us come up with a brand refresh for this city. Are you mad at me that I'm referencing it? Are we gonna all pretend that there's not an issue now? Right? Let's talk about it. And having a famous burger place called The White Spot isn't helping. We'll get to it. And we'll spin the rant wheel, and we'll hear your live high notes, so get thinking. But first, let's get into it. What a week. Alabama Senator Tommy Tuberville told reporters that he would continue blocking Senate confirmations of military officials despite the escalating Israel-Hamas conflict, saying, "We're not at war." Not with that attitude. As any military historian can tell you, the time to prepare for a war is the first day of war, and not a moment sooner. According to Romney, A Reckoning, the forthcoming book by McKay Compens, Oprah Winfrey suggested in 2020 that she and Romney team up for a White House run in order to save the country from Donald Trump. Romney said he shot down the idea, which is a shame because I could see the two of them planning a rollout in full for literally months, up to and including an event with thousands of people, and both assuming the other was the vice president. And assuming it was so obvious, never having said it. You know? Both of them on the phone thinking, I guess I would let them be my vice president. And I think that that's cool. A spokesperson for Oprah disputed this account, telling Axios in November of 2019, Ms. Winfrey called Senator Romney to encourage him to run on an independent ticket. She was not calling to be part of the ticket and was never considering running herself. It is always nice when the correction makes it a little bit worse. What? Sidney Powell, one of the many Trump co-conspirators charged with attempting to undermine Georgia's choice. There she is. There's the mugshot. Attempting to undermine the election results. She pleaded guilty one day before her trial was about to begin. There's been a crack in Trump's defenses. Okay. Rudy Giuliani also reportedly pleaded guilty. But it's unclear if it counts since he was talking to a dancing inflatable tube man outside a car dealership. Just apologizing. Powell's plea was part of a deal to secure her testimony against her co-defendants, so there are a couple ways this ends. Either Trump gets sent to jail by his own crackpot lawyers, or 70 years from now we find this missing woman's bones in Ivana Trump's golf course coffin. Trump's former attorney, Kenneth Chesbrough, has taken a plea deal with Fulton County prosecutors, receiving probation in exchange for his agreement to testify. And here's where things get interesting. There's no way that both his and Powell's bodies can fit in Ivana Trump's golf course coffin. Chesbrough is the third Georgia co-conspirator to plead guilty, and an Atlanta bail bondsman who had a smaller role in the election scheme also took a plea last month, which means we've finally broken through the goon tier of indictments and are working through the thin, sedimentary layer of stumblebums. All of this is a bad sign for Trump. Chesbro pleaded guilty to a conspiracy charge for a conspiracy that involved Trump. And Chesbro communicated extensively with Trump and others about the plot, all spelled out in emails and texts that he now has to hand over to prosecutors. The rats are fleeing the sinking ship and then turning around and forwarding their little rat emails from their little rat inboxes. One of Trump's lawyers admit that at the time he knew that their plan was not legally viable, but did it anyway, undermines the argument that Trump is in the clear because he was listening to the advice of counsel. This is like if I wrote a joke and head writer Hallie tells me it isn't funny, I do it anyway, no one laughs, and then I blame Hallie. For example, it's Hallie's fault that Kraken joke was in here. Hallie's an angel, sure. And let's cut that. And in even worse news for Trump, when Chesbro and Powell testify in his Georgia criminal trial, that testimony can be cited in Trump's D.C. trial as well, in which Chesbro and Powell are unindicted co-conspirators. That could mean 2 convictions for the price of 1. This guy is really good at deals. All these jokes and more are brought to you by our new sponsor, Trump's extra-wide utility coffins. Oh, no. In other Trump legal news, the judge in his civil fraud trial, Judge Arthur Engoron, fined Trump $5,000 for violating a gag order for his comment calling a law clerk Schumer's girlfriend, an accusation he deleted from social media but did not take off his website, which his lawyer apologized for, said it was an oversight. $5,000 to me is the worst amount. It isn't high enough that Trump feels it, but it is high enough that the fact that Trump doesn't feel it is a reminder that even though he's not as rich as he says, he's still pretty rich. The judge did not find Trump in contempt or slap him with a harsher fine because it was his first violation of the gag order, but said any future attacks by Trump on court staff could lead Engoron to possibly imprisoning Trump. It would be amazing if, for all the blatant crimes that Trump has committed in public, he finally saw the inside of a jail cell for calling a bailiff Biden's little side piece. Meanwhile, the judge in Trump's D.C. trial temporarily lifted the gag order she issued, which was designed to stop Trump from publicly bitching about special counsel Jack Smith. "Oh, Christ, here we go," said Iowa Trump supporters. Judge Tanya Chutkan said the temporary freeze is to allow both Trump and DOJ to brief her as she considers Trump's appeal of the gag order. Said Chutkan, privately massaging her temples, "Maybe he'll get it all out of his system. How many slurs rhyme with Chutkan anyway? Slutkin, I'll live." Why are we even bothering with these gag orders? A gag order only works in a world where Donald Trump has the self-control of a human man. He doesn't. He has the self-control of a tall dog who knows you brought home pizza and also knows at some point you'll have to go to the bathroom. A State Department official involved in arms transfers to allies resigned this week over the Biden administration's pledge to support Israel in its conflict with Hamas. He ended his resignation letter with a somber, "And boy, are my arms tired." Yep. What do you want to? What are we supposed to do with this stuff? Cut it. All right. More than half of the transmission lines in the U.S. and its transformers are from before the 1970s. The only way to bring more renewable energy online is to update the nation's grid, starting with getting George Santos to stop stealing all the copper wires out of the Capitol. How's he doing that? For the first time, Lunchables, remember Lunchables? They now qualify for the nation's subsidized school lunch program and are now being given to children in cafeterias across the country. Yeah, fucking Lunchables. I was shocked as well. It's Lunchables for the least lunch-able. Yeah, that's the last one that's gonna feel like that, I think. The Washington Post did a fascinating investigation of how this happened, and I really do recommend everyone take the time to read it. Lunchables, it turns out, were developed by Oscar Mayer in the 1980s as a way to sell excess bologna. I remember when Lunchables came out because I looked up the date and it checks out. So they first hit the store shelves nationwide in 1989, which was when I was 6 years old, depends on when of the year. But I remember when they came out and they were it was the coolest fucking thing in the world. Do you remember how cool it was? They're like, it's all in there, and some of them had the drink, some of them had the Capri Sun, and you're like, and there's dessert. It's a whole fucking thing. There was something about the whole complete lunch inside the box that was just intoxicating. And so you'd put it in the cart, and then it would come out of the cart because your mom said it's gross, unhealthy, and unnecessary. Because we can buy crackers, we can buy turkey, we can buy cheese, and we can buy drinks. It was rich kids who got it. Well, it was the cool, and also the cool kids whose moms didn't give a fuck. I never got Lunchables. I always wanted Lunchables. They were so cool. And then you'd get, once in a long while, you'd get one Lunchable, and then you'd eat it and be like, this is too salty. And it is too salty. And they're still too salty. And so are we. And now look how far they've come. From a yellow package in the supermarket to being flung at children across America a shipping pallet at a time. According to the report, if Lunchables were served to kids in Chile, for example, it would require a cigarette-like warning label due to its salt and saturated fat content. But not in the great US of A. No, here kids are handed a Lunchable. It was slightly modified by the evil scientists at Kraft Heinz to meet what little nutritional rules we do have, but because it doesn't meet the whole grain requirements. Okay, so they're giving kids a Lunchable in schools. But because there's a whole grains requirement that the Lunchable doesn't meet, to make the meal healthier, do you know what the schools give the kids with the Lunchables? A bag of Cheez-Its. To make the lunch better for the children. A bag of fucking Cheez-Its. Now, you may be saying, they must give the kids some kind of an alternative to fucking Lunchables. And they do. They do. At one school in North Carolina, the Post found that they offer children another option. It's called walking tacos. Do you want to know what walking tacos are? It's a bag of Doritos with taco meat on the side. Yeah, that's right. Sounds pretty good. And they get away with it because the salsa counts as a vegetable. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Now, there were positive changes made in the law as part of Michelle Obama's efforts to improve nutrition in schools, but lobbying by the food industry during the rulemaking process at the USDA means pizza sauce, French fries, salsa, these things can still count as vegetables. French fries. And I didn't understand this, and now it all makes sense because this has been fucked since I was a kid. I remember when I was a kid in middle school, you could choose what you wanted for lunch for $1.40. And it was either nuggets and fries, burger and fries, or plate of fries. That's what you, and with chocolate milk on the side. And then we're like, you know what's wrong with these kids? Their brains are fucked up because of ADHD. It's their dumb brains. That's why these kids are like this. It's their fault because of their stupid fucking brains. Now let's fill them with fries, sugar, and milk for baby cows, and get them back in that room where they buzz they buzz against the walls because they want to play with their hands. But we're saying no because they need to be trained to build cars in the 30s. They gotta learn to sit fucking still. All right, that's what school's for. You gotta learn to hate books and sit still. Now eat your fries, which is a vegetable. Make sure you get your 10 whole grains from those Cheez-Its. This episode of Love It or Leave It is brought to you by Frito-Lay. Frito-Lay, our food is to taste what staring at the sun is to your eyes. Unbelievable. No money for school lunches. Can't find it. We looked everywhere. Can't find it. Can't find it. Is it under one of those fighter jets that can't fly in the rain? Nope, no money under the fighter jets that can't fly in the rain. Oh well, guess there's nowhere else to look. North Carolina, remember those fighter jets that couldn't fly in the rain? That was fucked up. North Carolina Republicans proposed gerrymandered congressional maps to turn what is currently a 7-7 split between Democrats and Republicans into districts that would make it possible for Republicans in this closely divided state to hold 11 seats versus Democrats 3. They've gone from 7-7 to 11-3. The Republicans in North Carolina have fully embraced their role as the bad guys from Breakin' 2 Electric Boogaloo, a movie you all remember and love. That joke is also Hallie's fault. The proposal is only possible because Republicans flipped the Supreme Court, which meant they could reverse a ruling that said they had to draw better maps, and because that sleazy dumbass legislator flipped from Democratic to Republican, giving Republicans a supermajority. But in her defense, she was just following her constituents' request to live in a waking nightmare. There's something to joke about. This fucking sucks. Iowa Senator Chuck Grassley's offices have reportedly resulted in 20 employee marriages over the years. Sadly, all of the marriages were to Iowa Senator Chuck Grassley. Sick. Fierce winds up to 80 miles an hour have been ravaging communities in Montana, leading homes to be buried in tumbleweeds. Look at that. The fuck? There's so many tumbleweeds. I've never seen anything like this. All right. Despite Montanans' best efforts, shooting them isn't working. Will Smith and his children joined Jada Pinkett Smith for a book event in Baltimore. I know. He called their relationship brutal and beautiful and a sloppy public experiment in unconditional love. A sloppy public experiment in unconditional love is also how House Republicans characterized January 6th. If this is a public experiment, I would like to be part of the control group. Put me in the, I want to be part of the null hypothesis. Smith also said that he didn't know about, you know what, we're all fucking sick of this. Gwyneth Paltrow called the term Nepo baby an ugly moniker in an interview published this week, saying there's nothing wrong with doing or wanting to do what your parents do. Nobody rips on a kid who's like, I want to be a doctor like my dad and granddad. Thankfully, the interviewer suffered only minor injuries when she fell out of her seat as a result of leaning forward too much in the hope that Paltrow might say that Nepo baby is the other N-word. That's what happened. Paltrow also said that once she sells Goop, I will literally disappear from public life. No one will ever see me again. Gwyneth continued, stop it. Gwyneth continued, unless you're skiing too slowly in Deer Valley, bitches. Like she did it, like she got away with it. Like she absolutely, how cool would that be, by the way? I would, honestly, wouldn't you fucking love it if like 5 years from now, Gwyneth does like a full Jinx thing and it just says like, I fucking nailed him. Everything I said was a lie, everything he said was true. I won, you believe me, the system did not work, I fucked that guy's back up, he was telling the truth. It would be the coolest thing, she should do it even if she isn't responsible. A 22-year-old man in Poland has been charged with theft after allegedly pretending to be a mannequin in a shop window in order to steal jewelry after closing time. Amateur, said Mitch McConnell. The attempted thief was caught when the store's security guard did his nightly round of fuck the mannequins. Scientists believe they figured out why billions of snow crabs have gone missing from the ocean around Alaska. They likely starved to death due to warming ocean temperatures. You know what I can't fucking stand? I can't stand when crabs say that they're losing weight because of warmer ocean temperatures and fundamental changes to their habitat when we all know that it's fucking Ozempic. A man in Spain was finally taken in by authorities after running a scam in restaurants where he would fake a heart attack to avoid paying the bill. Sources claim he has tried this 20 times in different restaurants before he was finally caught. Said the man, "Okay, fine, you guys got me. I'll come quietly. Just go ahead and act. Oh boy, it's the big one." Sadly, this scam won't work in the US. If you say you're dying of a heart attack at the Cheesecake Factory, they'll just stack you like cordwood in the walk-in freezer with the others. Also, sure, you might get out of a $50 tab, but it won't make up for the $800 ambulance ride. And finally, Rite Aid went belly up this week because it's got a lot of debt and a lot of lawsuits because of opiates. The Department of Justice says Rite Aid filled prescriptions for quantities of opioids that had obvious and often multiple red flags indicating misuse. But the only thing Rite Aid has going for it is they don't believe in red flags. If I'm buying gummy worms, hemorrhoid cream, a family-sized Stouffer's frozen mac and cheese, a People magazine, and a 5-heat electric blanket, that's my business, and Rite Aid respects it. There's no judgment there. Anyway, I'm about to say something that none of us will be happy about, but I can't not say it, and so the only way out is through. More like wrong aid. And that's Hallie's fault, too. When we come back, Lily Franklin and Kim Pope Adams are here.